not looking down on you, and I don't expect you to look up at me. No masters below, and no slaves above. Yes, unfortunately, I'm going to have my artist chat again. I think it's a good idea. I'm aware I take myself far too seriously. But something else takes me more seriously than myself. And I am obliged. So I said this last night. Did my Pilates, did my yoga, did my Qigong, did my lengths at the pool, had my $100 Thai massage, and the back's still fucking sore. Delivery guy, return of art from Snob Gallery. Snob lying, conceited gallery, sabotaging gallery sent work back. Guy on truck, nice guy, you know, love the working man. He's missing his calf muscle. And I'm like, dude, he's wearing shorts, you know. And he's more than happy to help me carry the shit into my container. And it's like, thanks, man. Like, because that would have hurt me at the moment. And he's missing his calf muscle. And I'm like, do you mind me asking, you know, like what happened to that, you know, couple of kilos of flesh there on your lower leg, you know, your calf? Because he's all sort of skin and bone down there. He's a big guy too. He's like, oh, sciatica, you know, back trouble. It's like, you what? You know, surgery. I'm like, yeah. And so he's had 18 years, you know, of a lumbar issue similar to what I've got, you know. And he's still transporting art, of course, as I hurt myself transporting art as well. Yeah, he said just walk, go for walks. I did actually go for a walk yesterday. Thanks for asking. A man and a baby came to visit me, which was charming. Charming. I happened to be doing a doodle with a penis on it at the time, and sort of a head with a flaming third eye, and I opened the door and I said, oh, the doodle must be for you, David Muir, I said. And he segues into a hideous operation he had on certain parts of his body, like that. And so, you know, I'm going to count that as a minor miracle or a synchronistic event. You know, I've got a little penis doodle on a and I said, oh, would you like black velvet in your cunty shaped third eye on the doodle, David, or would you like gold? And he chose gold. You know, and I think. Yeah, we got right into the subject of the matter, and I had to hear about the gory details of his fucking operation, which I don't want to repeat. And I was happy to tithe a memento to him, and then we spoke as gentlemen speak. He was wearing good slacks, and I was wearing workwear. His partner is the head of fashion school here. Flies off to Milan at a whim, you know, as bureaucrats often do, who run galleries, even. On the way back to his house in Sawyers Bay, we ran into an engineer who was guarding a hole. And we had a half-hour dissertation on aligning inside Dunedin Waterworks pipes made of a fibre and an epoxy to help the flow and get rid of the Dunedin taste. And the man was very interested in telling us all about the logistics and engineering capacities of this event, because it was a prototype. So basically, we were sort of at an open science experiment on the side of the road. And I told him I don't drink Dunedin water, and I probably won't. Chlorine, fluoride, didn't go into a rant. Anyway, lovely day. Picked up some shit on the road, probably going some art. Brought a couple of books on Jung at the local bookstore. Figured one of them was on the Divine Mother and Christ myths from ancient Greece, and the other one was, some collection of Jung's writings. And I said last night, the more I go into my Sacred Heart of the work, the more I come up against an almost violent reaction to the cultural values around me. And it's true. It's hard to be engaged in meaning making in a purely commercial and transactional environment. It's hard to be drawn into a depression based on abandonment, which is alive for most of us in this country. And that my art hopes and seeks and does contradict, at least in myself momentarily. But nonetheless, I have to keep going to that place of a deep abandonment. And, art used to be a inquiry into the divine, into truth-seeking, into the sacred. This is its function anthropologically, and we reduce everything to an external value system of us self-abandoning to mechanisms that give us meaning, place, and purpose, which are all false. They're not what actually gives us meaning. I wouldn't be the only person that felt like this, but I keep sort of having this phantom limb of engagement, of solicitation, of trying to talk about having a spiritual attitude towards my life, which my art is testament about, and I've got to draw that back. It's about my life. It's about my soul's passage here in this dimension, rather than about my career's worth or status symbols of the fake world. And only by valuing that which is true will anything be valued anyway. Integrity does count. So, I'm constantly coming up against that edge of a culture that doesn't actually have a soul, or if it does, it's not professional to regard it, the exoteric and the esoteric, the inner and the outer. And maybe this is a reconciliation that I haven't, matured into, knowing how to reconcile those boundaries of an internal practice that is attempting to have a identity outside. And then I go into, forces of, psychic corruption and consensus politicking. And I mean, a dude sent me an email from the art school, and, next to the long bunch of letters about his not having a real art practice, in exchange for institutional validation. There was also a couple of postscripts of he, him. You know, the guy's name was Mark, and he had to have high-vis letters after the 6 other letters that said he, him. And I'm like, you're talking down to me? You know, like, who the fuck do you think I am? Like, you think I'm a retard child that is in some genderless slurry? Like, Mark, really? He, him? You know? He, her. You know, who's fucking wagging the dog there, bro? You know, bullshit. I call bullshit on that. You know, more demasculinated, fucking robot socialized schizophrenia. You know, for a weakened country who's, you know, that's the way to get rid of the guys from the tribe, is by turning them into consensual women. You know? Fuck. Yeah, angry. Angry's okay. Angry's legitimate. You know, when you've been fucking, you know, when your brother's dead because of feminism, hung by a fucking rope, you know, on institutional drugs, you know, fucking allowed to drink alcohol from the age 14 from some fucking feminist with liberal Marxist ideas. You know, like, culture war, right? Real people, jail, you know, meth, like, you know, broken homes, you know, fucking crime, ignorance, like, teenagers don't even read books. I said this morning too. Radicalized everything, everywhere. My web net of hybrid reality, when nowhere seems more appropriate to brew seek solace for unfair world service and personal freedom, salvation from entangled reactive cycles of my PhD art lifestyle, identity crisis outsider to the culture commerce curriculum of captured natives, even to discover and expose my own distortions, transgressions, limitations, wounds, sins, and inadequacies, to make my dark visible, known, released. So true self, deeper self, all self can permeate, indwelling, past the local psyche I call me, which in fact is the face of the divine on which it's made. Kia ora.